All right, guys. Welcome to this faculty conversation session here as part of the faculty development program. We have with us Chrisanne Murphy, Leah Hood, Matt Kistler. Matt, welcome as well. And then present here we have Joanne Flett, Eloise Meneses, Leah Hood, and myself, David Bronkma. So we're just going to go around and have each faculty member introduce themselves and state what course you teach in your program, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat. Chrisanne, can you start us off, please?
Sure. My name is Chrisanne Murphy, and I teach the Advocacy, Human Rights, and Public Policy course.
Matt Kistler, can you introduce yourself, please? What course you teach?
Hi, I'm Matt Kistler. I teach program planning, community development, and this semester I'll be teaching disaster mitigation and preparedness.
Great, thank you, Matt. Leah, we'll now go to the people present here. Leah Hood.
My name is Leah Hood. I teach community development in the MA program.
Great. Eloise?
Eloise Meneses, cross-cultural skills and understanding. Joanne Flett, I teach accounting 522, which I think is managerial accounting for developing countries, and social entrepreneurship.
And you also direct the MBA in economic development.
That's
David Bronkma and I direct the Masters in International Development. I have the privilege of teaching economic development for developing countries. I have also taught program planning and relief and disaster mitigation. All right, great. So let's just have a short discussion here. Why don't we just start out by looking at why you enjoy teaching in this particular program. For those of you online, let's just go in the same order. Chrisanne, why do you enjoy teaching the course you teach for the Masters in International Development program?
Let's see. Of the reasons, I would highlight a couple. One is that I think the caliber of the students is quite excellent. They are really eager to learn and engage, and a fair number of them come with hands-on experience and just want to get deeper in their field. So I think there's a lot of rich dialogue and conversation in the classroom and online through our discussion posts and such. And another element that I really like about teaching the Masters in International Development program is that there is at least a little bit of a mixture of students from the U.S. and students from other countries. So I think there's a neat richness that's brought in especially from an international perspective, right in the context of a sort of a U.S. setting.
Great, thanks, Chrisanne. A quick question there. Do you notice a difference between the students in the MBA in Economic Development that you teach and the Masters in International Development? Do you notice any difference between them as you teach that course?
You know, I have to say, I think at one point we probably went through during introductions, during residency, and I don't know that it's super clear who's who. Of the ones that I do know offhand, I think when it comes to case studies, they're more apt to use perhaps more economic-leaning studies because that's of interest and that's a little bit more into their field. But in some cases, it's actually indistinguishable.
Great, thanks. Matt Kistler, what about you? What do you enjoy about teaching in this program?
Well, I mean, a lot of what other people have said before, but I would also say we talk a lot about praxis. And I think it's enjoyable to live praxis, where I'm currently kind of like Nate as well, and many of you, being able to do the work and also study, read up on what people are saying. I think when you're in the midst of a nonprofit kind of doing the work that you're doing, it's easy to ignore what other people are doing or kind of just get tunnel vision. And so by teaching, it really allows me to think more and kind of take a step back and then apply that back to the work I'm doing.
And it's great to hear one of your daughters, or both of your daughters in the background there, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, I told them to be quiet. That's only marginally effective.
Fine. It's fun to hear. Leah Hood, how about you?
Yeah, I would piggyback off of what Matt was saying. I think for me, having my own business, working with a lot of different organizations and clients around the world, it's really great for me to have a place to connect those at least once a year when I'm on campus and then working with the online students, to connect that experience that I'm doing kind of throughout the rest of the year with folks on campus and to see the things that we really believe in and we're implementing throughout the year, and then to kind of introduce another group of students to some of those ideas and engage those ideas and kind of see that they're actually, those things that we're doing are actually doing something. You know, they're meaningful, they kind of get kind of a new breath of life in them as we see students interact and really engage with some of the things that we've been working with throughout the years. So it's really encouraging, both from a teaching perspective and then as a practitioner, to kind of see some of those engaged.
Louise, you're probably the dean. Well, you definitely are the dean of the teachers around here. I was just thinking, all of those who have gone so far, it's been pretty much 1 and 2 years, I think. Kristen, it's your first year, Matt, first year. And Eloise, how long have you been teaching?
22 years. Because I've been hanging out in the ivory tower instead of doing something worthwhile like you all have been doing out in the real world. But I was going to say, I do have the students in their field semester, and it's fun to hear the stories from where they are right now, interacting online. I'll just tell one story of somebody who was late with a paper because he was going village to treat hoof and mouth disease. So, not the average reason to be late on a paper.
Yeah, very good. Joanna, if you wouldn't mind reflecting both why you enjoy teaching the program and how about directing it as well, what jumps out at you about both of it?
Wow. So I love teaching in the program because I get to teach my passions, both in terms of accounting, which was my first academic love, believe it or not, and sort of moved away from that after practicing it for 20-some years and getting burnt out. But I really love social entrepreneurship and the intersection between business and society and the role that business can have and play in society, and to put some theological lens on that, to invite the students to participate in building God's kingdom in the midst of this world. And so that's the real passion. And then that kind of feeds into the passion for directing the program, because that's kind of the direction of the program, to equip students with strong theological acumen, to utilize business and society in fundamentally change-driven ways, and ways that direct people to relationships with one another, with God, with self, and with creation, which is fundamentally shalom. So that's why I love what I do.
That's great. I love teaching for a couple of different reasons. One is just the opportunity for that faith integration aspect, and to see the students really wrestle with the spiritual and theological aspects of what they're doing. And many times, many of the students have not even thought that something like program planning has a theology to it. And, even when you get down to the most technical elements, to be able to facilitate those discussions based on Scripture, and then always trying to take a look at it, well, what does it mean to carry this out as Christians, as witnesses to Christ, is one of the things that I enjoy the most. The other thing that I really enjoy is, you'll get students in particularly the courses that I teach, there are some potentially controversial aspects because of different ways of approaching it. And that's the case for most of our courses, although accounting might be a little bit different. I don't know if there's some controversy in there. I'm sure there probably is. But just to see the students who have never thought about reading something from the very, quote-unquote, leftist side, like a Marxist approach, or students who have not really been exposed to the conservative side, say an Amy Sherman side that argues for neoliberal economics, and just watching them trying to make sense of that, and as students wrestle with it together, seeing how they really do start picking out, there are some aspects of good and to consider in all of these different approaches. I'm sure both the Marxists and the neoliberals would be offended by the fact that not everything of theirs is considered good by all the students, but it's exciting to see them progress in that way of really being able to read both critically but appreciatively as well, right, and not just negatively into it. And I think in terms of directing the program, my great joy really is working with you all, right, with the faculty, just the relationships we've been able to establish and the things that I continue to learn both from the